Welcome to the Lakeland Stadium at Rowrah in Cumbria for the third round of the British Mini Bikes Championship in 2025. It's our second visit to this stunning location in the heart of Cumbria's Lake District. Following our round one visit earlier in the year, saw some epic encounters in all of the classes. It's a circuit with plenty of overtaking opportunities, so expect some great racing, and with weather conditions set to be changeable, that usually signifies drama when on two wheels with dry tyres. Races only coming at you thick and fast, and we're kicking off with the Mini Moto class, in which Nellie Newth dominated at her only appearance this season from round one. But if practice and qualifying are anything to go by, Austin Dilks, who won round two, has a Blackadder-style cunning plan for Nellie after some overnight changes in setup. Nellie won race one yesterday, smallest grid of the day, but now would not be a good time to go and make the tee. This class is for riders from 6 years of age. Nellie and Austin both aged 8. Remember that when you watch this race. Here's Jake Sanson with the grid positions.
So the two top riders of the first two rounds of the championship now meet wheel to wheel on track here at round three at Rowrah. Nellie Newth and Austin Dilks on the front row of the grid for the Mini Moto rookies. Joey Bilham is alongside Daisy Grayson. It says Benny Grayson, but of course we all know it is Daisy Grayson on the number 19 bike. And in fifth position on the grid, it is Harry Everts on the 61. 5 riders at British level. Hopefully we get a very decent race of it, and already a big charge forward from Daisy Grayson, who tried to overtake Austin Dilks there off the line. Joey Bilham actually managing to get ahead of Daisy Grayson at that point. And so Nellie Newth was ahead of all of them and controls the pace as they go through McRae's for the first time. So it's Nellie Newth, Austin Dilks, Joey Bilham and Daisy Grayson, and then it is Harry Everts. So all 5 riders in position. Don't forget, of course, that it was Austin Dilks who dominated last time out at Teesside, but the Queen of Cumbria from last time was Nellie Newth, doing a fantastic job on the bike that she completely conquered for the first round of the championship in. Fantastic work from her as she rolls into St John's for the first time. Then up towards Sunny Bend, in through the square left-hander. Very good work so far. Very tricky at the moment as the competitors are giving us a really interesting taste of life in Cumbria, but we still think there's going to be some adverse weather conditions creeping in through the course of the day. Changeable is what the weather forecast tells us. Doesn't really give us any indication of when or how the rain is going to come. Nellie Newth a little bit more hesitant through the first S's, and that could have been the moment there for Austin Dilks as they go into McRae's for the second time. Austin Dilks trying to get parallel. Oh, that was close. Nellie Newth, though, needs to be very calculated as to where she places the bike here. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, but if she's calculated, there's a lot of things that can go right. Down Lakeside Straight, up to Stewart. And through they go in the hairpin, up towards St John's once again. Meanwhile, Joey Bilham still running well in front of Daisy Grayson, but Grayson, the second of the 2 females in this race, really trying to hustle Joey Bilham to make the move for third position. Dilks really swarming around behind Nellie Newth at Sunny Bend, hoping for an opportunity, wider trajectory through paddock, might be able to tighten in for the inside line and go for the move in the S's. Not going to happen yet. Battle for third place, Joey Bilham and Daisy Grayson still having a good ride of it. Out through the S's at the start, and again Nellie Newth a little bit hesitant and reluctant perhaps through the S's, just a little bit more deliberate than Austin Dilks. Dilks carries a little bit more power through there. I think he's sizing up the overtake, just wants to read the situation. It's no good leading in the middle of the race when the only lap that's important to lead is the last one. So Austin Dilks comes out of Idales, along Lakeside once again up towards the Stewart hairpin, just reading the situation as best as possible here with Nellie Newth. Doesn't want to overdo it. Certainly plenty of race still to go in this one. So you don't want to rush things. You certainly want to make sure you're calculated in each move. Through Sunny, left-hander, back on the throttle, up towards Paddock Bend. Again, Austin Dilks is looking for this wide trajectory to try and cut back in and make the bid to get ahead of Nellie Newth. But she is the Queen of Cumbria. She dominated in round one, but then Austin Dilks dominated at Teesside in round 2. So the 2 best riders of the 2025 season openers are now absolutely loggerheads here into McRae's, parallel to the Lakeside. On the run down to Iredale's into the right-handed hairpin. They're approaching Harry Everts. They're going to put a lap on him. Looks like Daisy Grayson is starting to get aggressive with Joey Bilham as well. So it's boy versus girl for first and for third. Into the hairpin, Harry Everts hopefully will not cause too much of an issue for our two riders as Newth and Dilks sweep past on the run towards St John's, no problem at all. Well done to Harry Everts, kept himself predictable, not doing anything silly there. So Newth and Dilks still very close together as they work their way back towards the end of the lap once more. Greasy conditions potential towards the end of this race depending on when the rain strikes, and of course all the riders on slick tyres, that could make it doubly difficult. So they've just got to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Grayson tucks up behind Joey Billam once again, looking for that move on the inside. I thought a move could be on there into paddock, but there wasn't quite enough throttle application to make it work. So again, Dilks is all over the back of the wheel of Nelly Newth. Into Iredales, gets a fast run out of the turn, hoping for a little bit more throttle down Lakeside. But Newth is very calculated. She knows exactly where to place the bike to give Austin Dilks as hard a time as possible. Now, we may not have many riders in this race, but of course you have to take into account the fact that there are a growing number of riders in Minimoto rookies in general in the country, but in race trim, there are no club level races on an independent circuit or anything of that ilk. You have to go into the national championships if you're racing, and that's while you are still learning how to ride the bike, never mind race the bike. It's very tricky indeed for young riders to develop their craft in Great Britain, but it is amazing to see the kind of talent that's come through over the years. Here's the battle for third again, Joey Billam in front of Daisy Grayson, who again tries that move on the inside line, hasn't quite been able to make it work. Down to Rowrah. Down to Rowrah. We're at Rowrah. What I meant to say was down to Iredales into the hairpin. Some very legendary corners in karting here, and are becoming legendary in the world of mini bikes as well. Into the Stewart hairpin. Very tricky for Dilks to try and get the upper hand here on Nelly Newth. Cutting back and heading up towards St John's. In through the right-hander. Named, of course, because that's where the St John's ambulance crew are always parked. Sunny Bend. Out towards paddock as well. Austin Dilks again tries that wider trajectory to get a slow in, fast out approach and cut back in on Nelly Newth. But Newth again knows exactly where to put the bike. No chance for Austin Dilks at the moment to get ahead. Here is a good chance. Previously, we can see that she's a little bit slower out of the turn. Dilks is just a little bit too far back to make that committed move into McRae's. Now, if Dilks can get a little bit closer to Newth on one of the following laps, and make that bid through the chicane, he might be able to just sweep past on the overtake. But it is going to be tricky to set that up. You've got to have full confidence and perfect lines all the way through St John's, through to Sunny, through to Paddock, and then to the first apex of the S's. So once again, to reiterate, there's no club racing in mini bikes in Great Britain. The only racing you can do while you're learning to ride the bike, never mind race them, is at national level. You go straight in at British mini bikes. So these youngsters, as young as 6 years old when they begin in the Minimoto rookies class, definitely doing a sensational job. Both Austin Dilks and Nelly Newth currently in the front end of the field, 8 years of age, a couple of years experience behind them now, so the confidence levels are higher. In through the S's, Newth slow through the turn, Austin Dilks carrying the speed and the momentum, that's going to be enough, and he's going to take the lead. Well, I did say he would need to get close to Nelly Newth on the way into the first chicane. She hesitated, didn't carry as much speed, and that was enough for Austin Dilks. He now hits the front. Patience will out, discipline and control will get you to the lead, and now it's Austin Dilks' turn to defend. So now the young lady from Doncaster, Daisy Grayson, trying to get into third position ahead of Joey Billam. A very intriguing battle for third position as we continue the fight for the podium. But the battle for the lead is still going strong. Austin Dilks is trying to stay ahead of Nelly Newth, but she's not going to make that particularly easy. Up to Paddock Bend, she is still very quick around this place. And if Austin Dilks makes the slightest error going into the last lap, then Nelly Newth will be right there to pounce into the chicane. You've got to attack this, Nelly. Be aggressive. That's a bit more aggressive than she's done in previous laps. So Austin Dilks isn't safe yet. Into McRae's, he runs out a bit wide. Nelly Newth gets a better trajectory through the hairpin. This is not going to be easy for Austin Dilks to hold on to. Into Iredales, right hand hairpin, back out on the throttle. Along Lakeside, This could be very interesting indeed as they get themselves dialed in once again. Hope for the best as you run through on throttle. It's going to be an interesting position for the contenders. They will run through up towards St. John's, and there is the battle for third still. Billum versus Grayson, Joey versus Daisy. Into St. John's and into Sunny for the last time though. I'm not sure Nelly Newth's going to have the time. She'll have a look. She'll think about it into the final bend, but there's not quite enough space. She'll have to settle unless she can get it on the throttle quickly. Austin Dilks is just going to hold it in front of Nelly Newth. Great racing all the way. My goodness me. The best two riders of the season so far in a proper duel that lasted all the way to the checkered. And Austin Dilks and Nelly Newth, it looks like they kind of air bumped on a fantastic run there. So a great race between the two, and that's only going to continue as the season progresses. Harry Evans crosses the line a lap adrift. Is Daisy Grayson going to get one last shot at third position? Well, there might have been a moment or two there, but I'm afraid it's going to be fourth position for her. Joey Billum will grab third place in front of Daisy Grayson. So great racing here at Rowrah. It's first blood to Austin Dilks ahead of Nelly Newth, then Joey Billum, Daisy Grayson and Harry Evans. But now we know the best two riders in Minimoto Rookies in 2025 are going to give us plenty of action and suspense all the way through this season. Is it going to be Dilks or Newth that comes through to be this year's champion? Only time will tell.
Later in the day, in truly atrocious conditions during which fog rolled in, making it impossible to see, Elon Musk take note, cameras required that see through fog, Nelly would go on to take a comfortable win this time. We'll be back after this short break, don't go away.
It's Mini GP UK 190 time here. The FIM grid, Wilson Dilks and Henry McCartney on the front row from Tyler Humphreys and Hudson Cooper on the second row. Behind them, we've got Charlie Cunningham, Lucas King, Annabelle McCarthy and Oliver Pitcher. In the Mini GP 190-70 grid, it's Travis Shaw and Ollie Everts from Harry Rafferty and William Round, hoping to stay away from each other this time. John Pitcher, David Wilton, Taylor Davies and Harry Barrell. We're under starters orders very soon indeed. Split grid, of course, but the FIA Mini GP UK 190s get underway. This is the road to MotoGP class for riders aged between 12 and 15. And it's been very competitive all the way through this season for the three riders. Up the inside immediately, Tyler Humphreys trying to get himself into second position, battling away already in this one as Henry McCartney and Wilson Dilks are going to be under massive pressure from Tyler Humphreys. It looks like the Mini GP UK 190-70 grid has got underway without too much difficulty. And so Travis Shaw already out in first position. But back to the FIM class. And it's these three riders, McCartney, Dilks and Humphreys, that have been all the way at the front. And so these three are definitely going to be giving us all the headlines. Look at Henry McCartney trying to get himself back on terms with Wilson Dilks. You can tell it's Henry McCartney on the red and black bike in second position, the number 75. And so Wilson Dilks from Mansfield in Nottinghamshire trying to hold on to this lead from McCartney and Tyler Humphreys. Cooper fourth, then King, Cunningham, Annabelle McCarthy, and then the leaders in the Mini GP UK 190-70. Here comes McCartney, the young man from Sevenoaks in Kent. I thought he had a run there at McRae's, but he has to hang back as Wilson Dilks holds the lead through Iredales. Back on the power along Lakeside. Still Dilks, McCartney and Humphreys. Humphreys is actually the quickest of the three riders through the first part of the day. Doing a fantastic job at the moment. Third position and putting these two riders to ransom up front. Skating through the turn, big run wide from McCartney. That's going to drop him a couple of bike lengths there. Comes back in through Paddock Bend, looking for a little bit more pace as they go back down the straight once again to cross the line. Dilks, McCartney, Humphreys, these are the three kings of FIM Mini GP UK 190 in 2025. The road to MotoGP is being written by these three riders. 12 to 15 in this category, of course. Dilks, McCartney and Humphreys. Catch us if you can. These are the trio that have been conquering every single race session over the course of this season. One of these three men will emerge as the champion. McCartney making a mistake there out of Stewart. That's enough for Tyler Humphreys to be thinking about a move into St. John's. He really thinks about it, but decides against it in the end. Tightens out of Sonny, another run wide from McCartney. Is that enough for a look on the inside into Paddock? I genuinely thought Humphries was gonna get enough throttle to make that work. This is all good news for Wilson Dilks, who just exerts himself in the lead of this race. As we go through the S's, it's starting to get a little bit greasy out there. Cooper P4, Cunningham is now ahead of Lucas King. He's got in front. There's Annabelle McCarthy coming through to complete the run in 7th position. The battle for second still going strong though between McCartney and Humphries. Little bit of travel on the throttle there through Iredale's for McCartney. Tyler Humphries not quite able to get close enough, but certainly making good work of it down Lakeside and in through Stuart Hairpin. Through the kink, towards St John's. You've really got to be closer to McCartney if you want to throw that one up the inside into Sonny. Very tight on the apex through. You get so close to the wall there on the far side, on the inside, that'll do! And into second place goes Tyler Humphries. The Scotsman has made it happen. Into P2, up through the crest then, into the chicane. And it's Dilks from Humphries and McCartney, but McCartney's coming back at him. Might get a chance back into McRae's again. He's going to leave it late. He gets through on the inside. McCartney returns the favour. Second position for Henry McCartney. That did not last long for Tyler Humphries. Now he's going to go slow in, fast out. This battle is raging, and this is exactly what Wilson Dilks wants up in front. Meanwhile, in the 190-70 race, it's Ollie Evans versus Harry Rafferty as they duel away for the victory in the second category on track. The biggest difference, of course, is that the FIM Mini GP UK 190, that's the Road to Moto GP, and the Mini GP 190-70, that's BMB, the British Mini Bikes Run category that joins forces with them. Looks like somebody out of the race there on the side of the road. I think that might be Oliver Pitcher. We'll confirm that a little bit later on. So we're too busy focusing on this fantastic duel between Henry McCartney and Tyler Humphries. In through the hairpin again at McRae's, on the run to Iredale's. Little bit of a run wide from McCartney, and it's a big chance for Tyler Humphries. He dives in, but he runs out wide. McCartney's going to get him straight back again as they exit Iredale's down Lakeside. The race is on, and here comes Tyler Humphries again, swapping positions on the inside. No, you don't, says Henry McCartney. Fantastic for these teenagers to lock horns and go wheel to wheel. Up towards St John's again. A brilliant race for position here as the battle for second place continues, but there's no problem at all for Wilson Dilks. You guys can race as much as you like, that's fine for me. I'll disappear out in front and control the race on my own. Wilson Dilks leads. McCartney versus Humphries for second place, and they're giving us a proper show. Down to McRae's. Hairpin left. Back on the power again. McCartney running very wide there. Tyler Humphries able to use that in previous laps to his advantage. Not close enough on this occasion. Through Iredale's, back down Lakeside. McCartney looks over his left shoulder, knows that Humphries is there. That's an invitation. Here goes Tyler Humphries on the inside. Now it's my move. Excellently done by Tyler Humphries. McCartney has to concede, and Tyler Humphries in a second place. Magic. And again, McCartney's got a big run on the inside line through Sonny. It is so hard to pull off an overtake in the left-hander before the end of the lap. Absolutely amazing from Henry McCartney. He used great power and pace through St John's to set up the move into Sonny. Absolutely sensational. The battle for second will rumble on all the way through this race. As long as McCartney and Humphries keep their wits about them, the last thing they want to do is lock handlebars and take each other down. But amazing run. You can see the cloud travel thanks to the drone here over Rowrah. It moves quickly on this part of the course. In this part of the world, Cumbria has its own microclimate. For the moment, it's sunny, but I've got a feeling we're going to get some very interesting weather conditions over the course of the day. So let's see just how tough it is for Tyler Humphries to get back on terms as the leader is lapping traffic at the moment. That's David Wilton, I think. He's just managed to lap. Meanwhile, McCartney is still shaking off the pressure from Tyler Humphries. David Wilton is the bike in the middle of the trio. He's not going to cause any issues, but Tyler Humphries is going to use the opportunity to seek a move on the inside at McRae's. There's no free gifts on offer from Henry McCartney in this one. What do you think? I'm just going to lean over and let you have it? No chance. McCartney holds possession in second place in front of Tyler Humphries down Lakeside. Humphries has got a good exit off the turn though. He'll try again. Not close enough into Stuart Hairpin. So he has to wait through the kinks and up towards St John's. Not going to make that braver manoeuvre. unable to get close enough to throw it on the inside line into Sonny, and it looks like there's more traffic to navigate for our leader Wilson Dilks as he goes into the last lap. He's going to sort out William Round without too much pressure. Tyler Humphries thought he had a line on the inside line in the first chicane. He's had to bow out of it. Now he's going to have to spend the last lap making up time to McCartney, but McCartney runs wide on the exit of the chicane. So out of McRae's, it's going to be close between the two, and they've got William Round in front of them to try not to trip over. Round goes wide, lets them both go. Oh, that was close. But Humphries has got a good enough exit. Surely this is going to be the move on into Stuart Hairpin, and he's made it stick. Tyler Humphries rockets into second position on the last lap. That couldn't have been better timed from the young man from Brechin. Absolutely superb. And now Wilson Dilks is going to have an unchallenged run to the victory. But what a move from Tyler Humphries on the last lap. Checkered for Wilson Dilks, second for Tyler Humphries, and Henry McCartney will be so frustrated to lose second place there on the last lap. That is as agonizing as it gets. My goodness me, what a fantastic duel between Dilks, Humphries and McCartney. Look back, and there is Travis Shaw. He's on the tail of Lucas King, but Travis Shaw is going to get the victory in the BMB Mini GP 190/70 Cup race. Fantastic work from Travis Shaw. He made sure that nobody could get close to him in the end, and an excellent performance all the way. Rowrah always delivers magic in mini bikes, and in FIM Mini GP UK 190, it's Wilson Dilks who triumphs ahead of the valiant Tyler Humphries and the frustrated Henry McCartney. Hudson Cooper P4 in front of Lucas King. Annabelle McCarthy rounds out the top six. Charlie Cunningham a lap adrift, and Oliver Pitcher sadly having to retire from the race. So, very exciting times in Mini GP UK 190. In the 190/70 Cup race, Travis Shaw was dominant in front of Harry Rafferty. Ollie Everts in P3 ahead of William Round and David Wilton. There's still plenty more to come here from Rowrah in Cumbria. We have the FIM Mini GP UK 160 up next. In we go then to the FIM Mini GP UK 160 class. Joshua Herring in pole position ahead of Matthew Thomas. Then Max Robinson and Riley Robinson lining up together on the second row of the grid, with Leo Soliu, Austin Wilton and William Dickinson giving chase. Avanti! And away we go here at Rowrah. Joshua Herring getting the perfect launch as he works his way through the chicane. He's got lots of confidence here at Rowrah. And look at the lead he's building already. This is a man who knows how to get his way navigated around this place. The other riders may have to struggle to catch up with him here. Matthew Thomas already confident there in second place. A little bit of a duel going on further back. As the riders already trying to make a big lunge to the inside line. That looks like a big bolt lunge there from Leo Soliu. So as they go down the inside towards the Stuart hairpin, it's going to be an interesting choice of line as they come off the turn. Starting to get a little bit greasier here. Looks as though the clouds are racing in. We had a bit of sunshine earlier on. Not the case anymore here in Rowrah. To the far side, everyone trying to keep themselves upright on this first lap. Don't forget, of course, if we get rain in the middle of this race, they're all on slick tyres. They are going to find it very tricky. Josh Herring, dominant out front already. Riley Robinson and Max Robinson trying to stay with him. And it's going to be tricky for the man in yellow and black. Even Riley Robinson looks like he might be a little out of touch in the early stages. Matthew Thomas, P4 after a difficult start. Here comes Leo Soliu again, looking for a move on the inside of Austin Wilton. So Wilton was the one who got the move on the first lap, but now Wilton's under pressure from Leo Soliu, and Will Dickinson is still circulating, albeit in 7th place, a little way behind the pack. So with Matthew Thomas having a fantastic qualifying run and not having the best of performances on the start, it's difficult now for him to make progress from 4th position, especially considering how Riley and Max have just disappeared up front. Here goes Leo Soliu, dives in on the inside of Austin Wilton. Fantastic duel shaping up between these two already, as Leo Soliu gets his line on Austin Wilton. Not a lot really that Wilton could have done about that one either. Top 3, checks out Charlie in front, Herring, Riley Robinson and Max Robinson, then Matthew Thomas in front of Leo Soliu and Austin Wilton. And Leo Soliu isn't done yet. He fancies his chances now on Matthew Thomas. He's already got away from Austin Wilton and thinks about it. Thinks, well, I don't really fancy P5, thank you. It's good, but I want more on the run to Iredales. Matthew Thomas qualified well, 2nd position, but for whatever reason, the bike just isn't giving him what he had in qualifying. And so as a result of that, He's having to try and scamper away from Leo Soliu. I wonder if he's got a slight problem developing that just hasn't given him the same amount of pace. Either that or a difficult start has hampered the confidence. As we keep saying, you don't get club racing at this level to build up your strength and your stamina. You have to go in at British level, national level, to race in these categories. So sometimes if you get a difficult start, it's tough to pick your morale up again. And now Matthew Thomas under big pressure from Leo Soliu as they go through the S's, left, right, and up towards the left-hander at McRae's. Is this going to be a big lunge from Leo Soliu? Well, you don't want to take too big a gamble too early, especially when there's a 50-50 chance you're going to skew into the side of your opponent. 10 to 14 years of age in the FIM Mini GP UK 160 class. So all of the competitors in this field are hoping one day to continue this path of progress and make their way into the 190 category that we saw just a short while before. But the man on top is Josh Herring, so dominant. We haven't even seen him really in this race since the first lap. Riley Robertson and Max Robertson are trying to stay with him, and it's a bit of a procession, it has to be said, from the first three, but at least these two are trying to give us a show. Leo Soliu all over the back of Matthew Thomas. Herring out front, Riley Robertson second, Max Robertson still third, and then we've got Leo Soliu, who is desperately trying to stay with Matthew Thomas, but it is getting very slippery out there, and the cloud cover suggests that we may be in for some rain very soon. A little later into the race, the battle for second place is raging, and so it is going to be a tough one for Max Robertson to try and get back on terms with Riley Robertson. Matthew Thomas has dropped Leo Soliu and is now trying to close up. Is there going to be one final opportunity to change things in the top three positions? There goes Riley Robertson. Max Robertson, P3 in front of Matthew Thomas. You've got to be so calculated in these moves. Don't forget that if you drop it on the last lap, you are not allowed to pick the bike up again. Mistake from Max Robertson. That's enough for Matthew Thomas. He absolutely seized the chance there. No worries at all for Matthew Thomas. What a mistake from Max Robertson. He'll be so frustrated. The checkered flag will come out for Josh Herring. Domination from the young lad from Bury St Edmunds. Second place is going to go the way of Riley Robertson, and Matthew Thomas, an absolute steal on the last lap. Bitter gall and anger from Max Robinson for losing the podium on the last lap. So Joshua Herring takes the victory then from Riley Robertson, Matthew Thomas, and a very angry Max Robinson. Leo Soliu in front of Austin Wilton, with William Dickinson completing the run there in P7. A very exciting race for some, not for Josh Herring. He absolutely marched into victory lane and walked away, never to be seen again up front. The Mini GP 160-50 race up next. Sebastian Kozlowski and Kai Golder, the two nemesises, meet again on the front row. Max Robinson and Riley Paisley on the second, then Leon Simpson and Kanan Ratcliffe next up. Cian Daly lines up P7 alongside Max Johnson, and to round up the top 10 we have Josh Perkins and Leo Soliu ahead of Riley Robinson and Ella Mosgrove, with Paige Mullen 13th. Expect the unexpected from the 160-50 class, ages 10 to 14. Terrible start from Golder and Kozlowski, and Max Robinson hits the front as Golder gets back on the inside of Paisley and slices back into P2. Kozlowski tries to join him, has to hang back a little moment, but Golder's going for the lead on Max Robinson into McRae's. Well, he slipped down to P3, but he's now right back into the lead of the race again as Kozlowski takes on Riley Paisley and gets back into P3. Good comeback rides then from Golder and Kozlowski. They may not have got out of the blocks particularly quickly, but now they are in the fight for victory once again. So Golder leads Max Robinson. Then it is Sebastian Kozlowski. Paisley is trying to get away from the rest of the pack in P4. Kozlowski already trying to attack Max Robinson into St John's. Has to hang back into Sunny. No, Max Robinson is not going to give you any space that he doesn't have to. So Golder leads, Max Robinson second, Kozlowski in third, but he's going to have to play catch-up if he wants to get close to Guy Golder once again. Golder, Robinson, Kozlowski. There's a slight glitch on the timing screen, but he is there in third, ahead of Paisley, then Leon Simpson, Leo Soliu, and Cian Daly. Down to the inside line, that's Kozlowski launching forward into P2. He's back where he started in the first two positions. So the battle between Golder and Kozlowski for the 2025 Mini GP 160-50 title continues. Kozlowski back in his second place now. He's got to chase down Kai Golder, and that's going to be tough when Golder is as quick as he is around this place. But Kozlowski will be riding with the red mist. He'll be fed up with the way the start went, and that means he'll be racing angry. Through to St John's. and down towards Sunny Bend. So it's all getting back into position again, but Kai Golder leads Goslovsky, then Max Robinson. There's Riley Paisley, 4th position in front of Simpson, Soliu and Daly. Looks like the timing screens are starting to update and get us back to where we should be. It's Golder and Goslovsky now, ahead of Robinson, Paisley, Soliu and Riley Robinson. So Leon Simpson's lost a little bit of time by the look of it. Our timing screen is back up to date. This is that battle for 7th between Simpson and Cian Daly. So Cian Daly going to try and storm up the inside. Meanwhile, Goslovsky has eaten half the time up to him and Kai Golder. So this is amazing from Sebastian Goslovsky, getting himself back into the hunt and the quest for victory. Down to the hairpin is Stewart. Flick through the right, flick through the left. Keep your eyes on the prize, both men. Golder and Goslovsky want this victory. Out through St John's, out through Sully. Look at how quickly Goslovsky is catching up to Golder, who runs a little bit wide. That's the invitation Goslovsky needed on the inside line into Paddock Bend, and he is through to the lead. So Sebastian Goslovsky takes the lead of this race away from Kai Golder. 3rd position for Max Robinson, ahead of Paisley, Soliu and Riley Robinson. So down to McRae's. Kai Golder will want to try and get the move back on Sebastian Goslovsky. They come out of McRae's, down towards Iredale's, and you'll be wondering where he's going to make the bid. Golder's coming in hot! Oh, he's hit him! And they're both down! Golder and Goslovsky out of the race. You cannot restart if the bike drops, and that's both men leading the fight for the championship, and they have collided at Iredale's here at Rowrah. Big drama in Mini GP 160-50 in the British Mini Bikes Championship. See, look, Golder comes in hot. He tries to slow the bike down. Too late. He realises last minute, I'm going to hit him. Nothing I can do about it. Well, Goslovsky didn't throw his toys out of the pram. He kicked his heels a bit, but at least there were no fisticuffs roadside. But what a disaster as Max Robinson now takes over the lead here. The young man from County Antrim has hit the front, and this battle has become a war for 2nd place. Paisley, Soliu and Riley Robinson questing for silver. Soliu on the inside of Paisley has to think best of it, but that is drama unfounded for Golder and Goslovsky. They are out of the race. Here comes the move from Riley Robinson to the inside. He gets past Leo Soliu into Iredale's, and now he's got a chance to go for 2nd on Riley Paisley. He's going to get them both. Magnificent. What a brilliant charge forward. And now the race to the checkered flag is going to be heated again. So Riley Robinson goes from 4th to 2nd in almost a heartbeat. Great run from Riley Robinson, so it's Max ahead of Riley, and then it is Riley Paisley 3rd ahead of Leo Soliu. Well, this race has gone nuclear. Look at the lead Max Robinson's got now, out in front, knowing that there's no Golder or Goslovsky to spoil his parade. Absolutely fantastic run though from Riley Robinson to get into P2 as they go up the crest and through the S's on the run to McRae's once again. This is going to be one of those rare races where the championship protagonists will not score, so take advantage of the opportunity, lads. This could be a real steal. To Iredale's, Riley Robinson trying to stretch away from Paisley. Leo Soliu getting a good run off the turn. We know he's got a chance of getting into 3rd position. He'll dive, he'll keep it on the throttle along Lakeside. Can he dive to the inside line? No, he does not, because Riley Paisley holds his position in 3rd through Stewart. Out of the kink, up towards St John's, down in the right-hander. Paisley riding beautifully here to thwart the onslaught of Leo Soliu. But Riley Robinson doing a great job too. Neither one of these 3 men is going to concede anything they don't have to. Max Robinson large and in charge out front. Leo Soliu again tries on Riley Paisley towards the S's this time. Up that crest, that's bold and brave, but he's got momentum off the turn. Is this going to be enough of an invitation into McRae's? He has to bail out of it. A little bit more strength on the throttle out of the S's, and I think that would have been 3rd place. Riley Paisley knows it, so he's covering his bases here on the braking zone down to Iredale's. He covers the line. Soliu gets a better trajectory off the turn. His radius is slightly tighter, but then Riley Paisley kicks on the throttle down Lakeside into Stewart, and he still holds 3rd place. Soliu is really going to have to send it if he wants to get this position. Not into St John's, that's too daring. Up towards Sunny, he can tighten up. So as they go through the traffic, obviously the first one they'll meet is Josh Perkins. They'll also potentially have to deal with Ella Mosgrove before the checkered flag flies. But certainly Perkins not providing too much of oil. Riley Robinson's getting held up a little here by Perkins. If they're really on it, Paisley and Soliu might be able to catch up a little. Well, too late. all done for Riley Robinson. He gets past Perkins, no problem. So how will Paisley and Soliu deal with it? Well done to Josh Perkins. He gets out of the way. He doesn't affect the race. So that's smart thinking from Josh Perkins. Don't forget, they don't race at club level to get up to this speed. They have to race at national level to build up the stamina. Soliu again on Paisley, but again it's stalemate. Soliu's got the speed out of the turn. Paisley's got the speed down Lakeside. So still they quest for position. Both racers have a claim to third position. I thought there was a little hint of a chance there for Soliu into St John's, but he has to hang back through Sunny. He might be able to pick up some stamina and some pace as they go into Paddock Bend. He wants to get a fast exit out of the turn and maybe get parallel last lap. Max Robinson's already got this one on a plate, but how about Riley Paisley versus Leo Soliu for third? They both want some silverware. This is a rare opportunity when you're not going to have Kai Golder or Sebastian Goslovski holding you up and getting in your way. They come off the turn, side by side almost out of McRae's. Paisley again protects the inside line. Soliu needed to use that opportunity. He'll go wide out of the turn, and that's an opportunity for Soliu. They're going to go side by side down Lakeside. Paisley's got to be brave, but so is Soliu. Paisley cuts across. Don't even think about it, sunshine. This is my podium. I worked for it. So did Soliu, of course, but he's not going to concede if he doesn't have to. Down through St John's onto the inside line, and they're going to battle to the flag. Max Robinson's going to pick up the victory. Second for Riley Robinson further back. Who's going to get third? It's going to be tight as they go to the line. Riley Robinson will be second. Who's going to get third? It's going to be Riley Paisley. He just hangs on in front of Leo Soliu. Good effort and great race all the way. Well, some big battles to the flag further back as well. Cian Daly's going to come through in P5. Sixth place is going to be Leon Simpson. It's going to be a drag race to the line between them. Ratcliffe just beats Simpson. Well, good racing all the way. Max Robinson takes the victory in front of Riley Paisley and Leo Soliu, because Riley Robinson would eventually take a penalty. Very unfortunate. Cian Daly, P5, ahead of Caelan Ratcliffe and Leon Simpson, with Max Johnson the only other finisher. What a disaster, though, for Kai Golder and Sebastian Goslovski. Their battle will resume at Wigan in a few weeks' time, but there's one more race to go for Ohvale. And so to our 8 to 12-year-olds in the Ohvale 110 and Mini GP 110s. Leon Simpson and Dylan Cook from Thomas Med and JJ Manchester. What a competitive field at the start. Dan Tanton and Sam Whitaker from Seth Haywood and Cody Brennan in P8 of the grid. Very competitive from further back. Caden Herring and Jasper O'Neill White to complete the top 10. Charlie Forrester is alongside William Dickinson. And then rounding out the field, we'll have Cian Daly, CJ Maguire, Carter Spinks, and Austin Dilks coming from P16, Ella Mosgrove from P17, and Rex Armand from 18. Away we go! Fantastic start to the first couple of corners. It's going to be a very interesting race, this, especially considering that our Ohvale 110 Cup class of 8 to 12-year-olds could get a race completely sullied here by rain. There are a couple of drops on the cameras already, but is it going to get heavy enough to really affect the riders here on slick tyres? The pack works its way through this very tricky course in the opening phase of racing here through Iredales, and when this place gets wet, it gets very wet indeed. It'll be a very tough opportunity for these riders to really ramp up the racetrack here at Rowrah, but we're going to see a very close quarters battle for supremacy. They come off the turns, skating through, into the right at St John's, into the left at Sunny Bend, and I think Dylan Cook is going to have his work cut out for him here. JJ Manchester got a good start initially, but he's now dropped a little way further back in the pack. But keeping upright is going to be the biggest task once we get these laps completed. Cook versus Simpson has continued on. Manchester still there in third position. Rain is predicted to hit the circuit here in Cumbria in 2 minutes' time. And we know what the rain can do in Cumbria. Let's not forget that we started this race on dry tyres, so they can't change them. Whatever we've got is what we get. Tanton versus Thomas Med, and that's Caden Herring trying to work his way forward. That's into P5, I think, for Caden Herring. Just picking that up there through Iredales. And it looks to me as though Cody Brennan trying to work his way ahead of Dan Tanton as well. So it's getting pretty racy, but Dylan Cook versus Leon Simpson continues up front with JJ Manchester looking pretty comfortable now in third position. He dropped back a little way from the leading two, but all you've got to do in a race like this, if rain comes, is stay upright. We've got 18 riders on this race at the moment, but all it's going to take is a little bit of moisture, and suddenly this will become a very different ball game. Cook, Simpson, Manchester, Med, Brennan now ahead of Caden Herring, and then Tanton ahead of Whittaker, Cian Daly, Seth Hayward and Jasper O'Neill-White. Carter Spinks ahead of William Dickinson and Charlie Forrester, then Mosgrove, Armand, Maguire and Austin Dilks. Tiptoeing their way through. It's going to be an interesting one as they continue to make progress. I think Austin Dilks is out of the race, and we've had a bike there stop out on the circuit. Looks like a mechanical issue for them. Now, they can restart if they haven't fallen off the bike, but it looks to me as though it's a mechanical problem, so that's going to be game over. Now, I'm not entirely sure who that was. I think it might have been Will Dickinson. We'll double check as they work their way through the end of the lap, but certainly Austin Dilks we know is out of the race already, and there's a second one dropping out. That was a mechanical issue, and the rain has hit the circuit. The rain is starting to fall. It's very mild at the moment, just a slight drizzle, but Leon Simpson having got ahead of Dylan Cook. This is going to be a nail-biting battle between the two riders. So Manchester in third position, behind them, but this is the duel for the lead between Simpson and Cook. Leon Simpson having hit the front, Dylan Cook in second place. Light rain, as you see, there is indeed falling between Med, Brennan and Sam Whittaker, who's now in the mix. So it was Caden Herring who dropped out of the race with a mechanical problem. That is disastrous, considering the progress he was making. Dylan Cook putting Leon Simpson under some pressure now, into the Stewart hairpin. Good trajectory off the turn. Manchester on his own there in third position, with Thomas Med under increasing difficulties from Cody Brennan and the ever-increasing pace of Sam Whittaker. Through Sunny Bend, and the Ohvale 110 riders doing a great job. Don't forget, they're only 8 to 12 years of age at this level. Stepping up the attack, Dylan Cook trying to close in on Leon Simpson, who is the leader of this race. In through the S's, right, left, right again. This is going to make difficult work for our drone as well. Don't forget, rain is not exactly their friend. Cody Brennan P4, Thomas Med in P5 in front of Whittaker now. So Cody Brennan has worked his way into P4. Can he catch Manchester before the end of this race? We have 2 retirements so far, Caden Herring and Austin Dilks, but if it really starts getting heavy, and I can see spots of rain on the lens here at Iredale's on the run to Lakeside, how many more could we lose? It's going to be very tricky now. Looks like an overtaking move further down in the pack. That looks like Jasper O'Neill-White, I think, trying to make a move or two. Well, I'm trying to count the way through. That's actually Seth Hayward, I think, getting in on Dan Tanton. So the battle for 4th down to 8th place. Very tricky stuff here. This is Brennan, Med, Whittaker, Daly and Tanton. So Seth Hayward remains in 9th position then, my apologies. That was actually Cian Daly then, getting his move on Sam Whittaker, who slips back into 7th position, and down goes Jasper O'Neill-White. What a shame. He is the first one to fall in the greasy conditions. I say the first because we don't know how many more will lose traction in these conditions. You need to be smart here, not necessarily fast. As Med, Daly, Whittaker and Tanton are going to get very close together. Up the inside, Whittaker has a look at Tanton into McRae's. Decides against the overtaking move. It's too risky and it's too bold and brash at the moment. Riders go through Iredale's onto Lakeside once again. Conditions are going to get very tricky here. For Formula One fans, think Monaco 96, as there goes Tanton overtaking Sam Whittaker around the far side. So that's a lovely bit of speed from Dan Tanton. Puts him into 7th position there on the run up towards Stewart. In through St John's and in through Sunny. Still some good performances coming in, but in tricky conditions every single corner. Oh, it looks like someone's breaking down there in the background. I wonder if that's Sam Whittaker. So the battle for the lead continues between Simpson and Cook. And it is indeed Sam Whittaker who pulled off the road there, I'm afraid. Light rain is getting more intense around the course. So now we've lost Dilks, Herring, O'Neill-White and Whittaker. Can Dylan Cook put on the speed here to take on Leon Simpson? The rain is getting heavier. They've got to be so careful that they keep their bikes upright in these treacherous conditions. Simpson under pressure from Dylan Cook, who is raining down on his parade. To the right, through the left, making the run up towards St John's. Tightening up, hoping for an opportunity. It's going to get very slippery from this moment on. You've got to be brave, but you've also got to be calculated. The rain gets heavier. Down to Paddock Bend, and Dylan Cook is trying to make his bid here on Leon Simpson, who's going to be braver in these tricky conditions up towards the S's. Leon Simpson in front of Dylan Cook, but Dylan Cook really is getting hungrier as he progresses on the tail of Leon Simpson. Simpson made his move earlier on, but can Dylan Cook retaliate? JJ Manchester looks like he's gone. Cian Daly now third in front of Med, Tanton and Brennan. So JJ Manchester has dropped out of the race. What a shame there. Oh, and there goes Dylan Cook. Dylan Cook's gone. Second position. The bike just washes out from under him as he tries to lean in for the turn. So slippery. Easily gone, and Dylan Cook is out. He joins JJ Manchester. Jasper O'Neill won on the sidelines, and that's a very nasty moment for Dan Tanton. He's also dropped it on acceleration out of Iredale's. Everybody misses him, but he is enraged. He was having a great race. Gets a little bit too fast on the throttle, and the bike acts like a bucking bronco. It's game over. Now, the FIM safety rules are very clear. If you drop it, you can't rejoin on safety grounds. And there's another one gone. It's Kian Daly. Second position is a cursed position by the look of it. My goodness me. And another one's gone. Another two have gone. Oh my goodness, that's Forrester and Maguire. I really feel for them, but what can you do? You can't tell them to slow down. It's racing. Both guys go in unison. You've really got to feel for Maguire there. Forrester went first, and there was nothing he could do to avoid the onslaught. We're on the last lap, but Leon Simpson has just got to tiptoe his way round the final corner now. Well, it's going to be a tricky one, and that's unbelievable, isn't it? 13 riders out as Leon Simpson crosses the line. That means we've only got 5 riders left. Carter Spinks is going to be third overall after all of this. Thomas Med is going to come through for the victory in the BMB 110 Cup race. So that is just about done and dusted. There is Thomas Med. He picks up a very impressive BMB 110 Cup win and second overall in this race. Carter Spinks is going to come through for third position. He can be happy that he survived. And the only other 2 finishers are going to be William Dickinson and Ella Mosgrove. Incredible situation here. In Ohvale 110 Cup then, it's Leon Simpson, Will Dickinson and Ella Mosgrove. No other finishers in that contest. What a brutal race they gave us here at Rowrah. That's as rare as a 4-leaf clover. You barely ever find it. Well, goodness me. Simpson, Dickinson and Mosgrove pick up the silverware. In Mini GP 110, Thomas Med takes the win, Carter Spinks takes P2, and there are no other finishers. You've got to feel for Dylan Cook, who could have won that race outright. Hopefully the weather conditions are going to be a little bit easier for the riders to cope with at round number 4.
Shortened highlights from this round due to the biblical levels of rain and fog during the afternoon session. But join us soon when we're back at the Three Sisters Circuit in Wigan. We'll see you then.